boys out having fun, having some brotherly competition, trying to see which one of them is the fastest. With T'Challa getting blocked off by an animal, we see Hunter leap over, and he is the one to make it to the finish line. As they stand over this cliff's edge, they look down and they see the beautiful, wonderful city of Wakanda. Now up in the palace, we have T'Challa's parents, and right now they're currently having a conversation because T'Chaka wants to open up to the world. He wants to start reaching out to governments, trying to help neighboring African countries to help the world as a whole, though, to be able to give their kids an opportunity to introduce themselves, to intertwine and interact with the outside world, to no longer stay hidden and help those that need it out there. But Ramonda is very hesitant to go about this entire plan because she does understand the danger. She's very cynical to this plan because she understands.
Yeah, somebody called me today, like when I got off the phone with you earlier. Well, the phone hung up and I tried to call you back. You didn't answer. But yeah, I did. No, I called you on FaceTime and you did not answer.
Out and experience what the world is truly like, so you have an understanding of the individuals that you will one day be dealing with. Because the trauma, the birthright of the Black Panther, it is belonging to him. And so the sooner he learns the lessons of what the outside world is truly like, it will help him, it will direct him and guide him in being the Black Panther of the future. And that's what takes us to Johannesburg, South Africa. And as soon as they arrive here, they
yeah.
Things are vastly different.
What called me was like, it was funny, but it wasn't funny because it was a whole lot of hooting and hollering and yelling going on in the background. Pretty much, I don't know what neighborhood Tyler Bailey walked into, but they ran him up out the neighborhood. And called me, you know. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who it was, but they was like, they got my number offline because you know they got all our numbers. Like if you go listed at see who's listed, who's running, they got our emails and our phone numbers. Well, yeah, they would find my phone number and it's like, yeah, we ran them up out of here because people come around and shucking and jiving and all that, and then after the election, we don't. Same thing I've been saying. After the election, we don't never see these people no more. I ain't ever seen you before. One thing I do know, the other Mr. Tyler, I can always call him. He come when people call him to show up. There was a couple old ladies in the background. I don't know what neighborhood he went up in, but they sure ran him up out of it.
Outside of Wakanda, and this is what they get into. This is the fight that they jump into. Though T'Challa and Hunter, they both believe that they were doing it for the right reasons. And T'Challa believing that if one day he is going to pick up the mantle of Black Panther, that he should most definitely be standing up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. And if he doesn't live those principles now, what is the point of him ever becoming Black Panther? What is the point of him ever leaving Wakanda? Now that's what we pick up a few days later. And right now we have a whole plane load of what appear to be politicians and national delegates from the UN coming to Wakanda for the first time, crossing into Wakanda airspace. This is a huge historic moment. But back in the palace, this is where we pick up with T'Challa and Shuri, little sister being extremely happy that her brother is home. These two, they sit down and have a conversation. They have a conversation of what they experienced while they were over there. Now, T'Challa's story is a little bit different because as soon as he landed there, he immediately recognized the segregation, the racial disparity that was going on in this country. And you could say that this is hard for him to process because up until this point, him and Hunter had never seen each other as white or black. They were simply brothers, with Hunter being the adopted just as a baby because his parents had been murdered at their northern border. He grew up with T'Challa his entire life, and so they never saw any kind of color or anything of that nature. But the world on the outside tells them that there is a difference between them. Though T'Challa, Hunter, neither of them can see this difference. This has them understanding that there are unjust laws that exist. Unjust laws that have been in existence and ones that need to be eradicated. Now, on the other hand, we have Hunter. Hunter is having such a hard time, not because of the segregation so much, though he does definitely find it odd that the laws in the world outside of here are so vastly different than how it is with Wakanda. But for a long time, he was envious, he was jealous of T'Challa, and that is because everyone praised him as the next Black Panther, the next ruler, the next son, the most loved, and he never understood why that was the case. But when they were facing across those points, when they were going one-on-one with him, Hunter jumped in to save T'Challa. He didn't jump in to save the individual that was getting beat up. And this is the day that Hunter realized T'Challa truly does deserve to be the protector, to be Black Panther. He deserves to be the most loved. Now, Ramonda, she goes on to tell Hunter that that's simply, well, he will go on to be Black Panther, and it's going to take both of you to drive this new generation into the future, to make Wakanda the next step for all of the world. That only you two together can truly do this, and they would never not be loved as long as you live in Wakanda. Now, this is when we pick up with T'Chaka meeting up with these UN delegates, sitting down, having a conversation. Now that there is talks about opening up to one another, being able to come visit, so on and so forth, Mr. Claw, what he wants is to open up trade, the probability, the possibility of vibranium, even going as far as saying that the UN, they have equipment that can help mine all of this, and then it will be evenly distributed across all of the world, using them as middlemen. Now, T'Chaka is not a dumb man, and he understands the ramifications of just letting vibranium out into the
Now, what kind of car you drive? It only take $18 to fill that mug up.
Seeing the poverty of third world nations, it doesn't. Economic disparity has not been dispersed. We have yet to bring up the very poorest of us all. And so for that reason, he has to refuse the vibranium, at least for the time being, until things can change. And he's still open to the idea. Now, Mr. Claw, of course, he's very opposed to this, takes it as an insult. But we learned very quickly that these aren't UN delegates. These individuals, they hijacked the UN delegate plane, loaded it with his own personal life, and intent to take out the T'Chaka and be able to get all of the vibranium that he wants for himself so he can sell on the black market. And so we see things go sideways very quickly, with Black Panther showing up, with T'Chaka putting that suit on and completely taking over his body. He jumps into the fray, he jumps into the fight, and starts taking down bad guys. Now, while all this is breaking out, we see T'Challa walk into the room. The young prince walking into the room, everybody immediately targets him. All blasters, all guns point to him, and Black Panther has to jump in the way of the blast. And with him taking the brunt of that blast, we see Black Panther down on the ground, with him appearing to be fatally wounded. T'Challa sits over his body, Hunter wounded on the side, guards surrounding them, and that is where this issue will end. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is an awesome issue. Like I said in the beginning, it's great for new fans, it's great for very loyal fans. It's really just a great tribute to the character of Black Panther. This is revisiting its core principles. What made the man T'Challa, what made Black Panther that we know, these lessons that he learns, this experience that he gains, even from the youngest of age, these all matter. These are all the foundation in what makes such a great and amazing have not yet, do me a favor and that sub button. Hit that notification bell, make sure you miss any of the awesome content we have coming out. And until the next breakdown. Endless experiences to leave your endlessly transformed. From dining and delights to rejuvenating spascapes, world of experiences are waiting. Where can we take you? And tap to find your experience. A leader in cybersecurity education, one of the largest cybersecurity programs in the country, ECPI University, a smarter, faster path to your career in cybersecurity. I knew what I wanted, and I got more now. The National Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense Education, ECPI, set me up for my future. I've got a great job, benefits, now life is fantastic. Accelerated degrees to get to your cyber career faster. On campus or online, ECPI University. Hitting the road? Not all 5G networks are created equal. T-Mobile covers more interstate highway miles with 5G than Verizon. You said that! T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, most reliable 5G network. The duration of the Infinity Saga largely served to build up not only the roster of Avengers and heroes people have birthed throughout the galaxy, but it also served to build a sense of existential dread and authenticity in the villain and a story arc that elevated Thanos sought to collect the legendary Infinity Stones in order to wipe out half of all life in the universe in order to save the survivors from overpopulation. Distinction throughout the course of the saga, we slowly learn about not only the strength and powers of the stones, but learning to track their whereabouts and hunting down as one of the most elaborate cinematic scavenger hunts to date that had advocates and fans scouring the world universe in search of the remaining stones that had not yet appeared in the MCU. But as more and more people the stone surface, we are gradually left to continually wonder why Thanos didn't begin his quest sooner. So stick with us, watchers of the movie. This explore the reasons why exactly Thanos took so long to find the first Infinity Stone. And today, we found all of the answers, or most of them, as to why Thanos waited for so long. The first reason is that he, much like the viewers, had to track the stone down before beginning his quest, as the longer he is in possession of one or more of the stones. Partly, like others, we have theorized before that he has an extensive network of spies, which is how easy it is to keep track of the stones as they trade hands after he's found them. And it's important to remember that once he does it,
Baby. Don't say I love you, baby. That's what.
I think you're looking for me?
Jackie? A mutual friend sent me.
I figured Johnny was lying when he said he had a friend. The cloak and dagger act's a bit much, though.
You know Donovan?
You could say that. I'm a special agent with Treasury.
The IRS is looking into Olivia Marcano.
You don't know me, baby. I ain't doing
Pay her
that.
taxes.
I'm investigating a man who works for her, Chester Moreau. From what I've been able to piece together, he finances the Southern Union.
Figure the IRS is factored into this somehow. Man I'm after, Remy Duval, the Grand Poopah or some shit.
Whatever the connection, it's deep, it's secret, and it's bringing in a lot of money. Much more than you'd expect from a territory like Frisco Field.
Yeah, how sister was almost every day last week.
For a while, but no one's talking.
Come home from school, and they do our homework and knock out.
He's talking.
I thought as much.
Snoring and all. Normally she curl up sucking her thumb. I know she been tired. Snoring, stretch out.
Might not seem like much, but you
Like
make
now,
those,
she ain't make
and
stretch
you'll get
out,
the
snoring.
attention of the people who matter.
Yeah. Hero starts losing money, he's gonna want to know why. I'll be back once I have something actionable.
No one's really talking around here. I think you're gonna have to get to Chester's people directly.
Hey, careful.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Somebody better be fucking with me. Don't you fucking move.
Wait! What the hell are you doing?
You wanna live? Tell me all about it.
We gonna have ourselves a discussion about the bullshit and sheep
Code
float.
mail spotted in Frisco Field. All units converge.
Right. Talking about the crime tax. Those of us living here in the Hollow dealt with this kind of thing before. Something that was told for us, for our family.
Violent physical altercations.
Well, that most definitely didn't go as planned. Yeah, that concoction you had in that cup, that's like some shit Brittany. I ain't had nothing to drink.
Then she keeps saying it. Why? Nobody told you to hurt you.
Yeah, that shit high power.
I'm saying it. You don't want to tell you to hurt you. Well,
Podcast is out there. With over 2 million today's most talked about podcasts available, Spotify is the best place to find the one. Whatever you're into, you can get more into it with a podcast. Find the
Oh
podcast
shit.
for right now free on Spotify.
And like you don't like me today, ma'am. See, acting like you don't like me tonight, ma'am.
I'm rather eating with her today.
Lincoln.
Did you and your family get all of your stimulus money? Click Lucky Child Tax Credit Payments and receive stimulus payments right online. Learn how
It don't.
at ssa.gov/EIP.
Met my woman during Mardi Gras.
Deserves. Reducing the taxpayer.
Her, not me.
She decides to do rather than this is where she as a going inside, don't see too many friendly faces, but they do see one, and that is Sebastian Shaw. He appears to drink alone, to be let alone, and he stayed quiet. And of course, Gay Pride, Everfrost, they have absolutely no problem with that, because they have no intention of talking to him anyway. Now, if they start to speak out, this is where Everfrost, she sees now his bio working on the billboard is kind of botched.
Boy, I'm tell you, they gonna end up getting rid of Tall boy. They're going to get rid of you, my boy.
What happened? Because during this time, the crowd was extreme. The pig was even worse.
Around and yelling.
Oh, shit. And so it was really
What
hard
did
to
Chester say?
keep members of the core around, let alone keep
Chester
them on
looks
the
at him,
straight and
turns
narrow
back to
and not
Tucker, and he says,
for
Tucker, clean up on
organizations,
aisle 5.
especially with the kind of training that they receive from the Nova. But even Tucker today was position that he wants it back from Emma Frost. And though he had a gun drawn on them, Emma Frost is not the least bit worried.
Like, yeah.
Why can he not remember anything that happened between them? And of course, that's because Emma Frost can't.
3 more people quit there, and all within the last hour of working.
But she tells him they've been working on a mission and job together. And when they were doing that job, she ended up taking his shit. But that is because he was going to double cross her anyway. And since he already technically stolen the shit himself, she really saw no moral issue with taking the shit. Now at this point, he's already heard enough. He's so mad, so aggravated. He goes and he pulls that trigger. And of course, this is Emma Frost. So Now, all of the Rockies around, they believe
Just not got the brain for it right now.
too soft because they leave individuals alive. But even Sebastian Shaw will tell you there is a very good strength in having restraint, being able not to kill an individual. It may be used later on, whatever the case may be. Not every situation requires you to kill them. And as they go to walk away, Eden he goes to throw a grenade to try to blow up this entire bar. Now Emma Frost was not expecting this. She was not expecting for him to go to this amount of extremes. But luckily, Sebastian Shaw is in the bar, and he walks over, he grabs that grenade, and he puts it directly into his chest. And Eden, he's just completely shook right now. He has no idea what to think of the situation. Seeing a woman turn into diamond, having telepathic abilities, another one being a freaking ghost, and then Sebastian Shaw walking up and just sticking a grenade in his chest. Obviously, he is hugely outnumbered, outgunned, and didn't even realize it until the fight was over. To end all of the violence and bring all of this to a closure, Sebastian Shaw, he suggested they would pay some kind of restitution to him, since Emma Frost has no intention of handing the shit back. The best course of action is to pay him in some kind of currency. And so picking up a short time later, they come out with a crap ton of mysterium, an entire briefcase full of it. And they're hoping that this is the white flag, this is the olive branch, that this will bring peace between the two of them. All appearances, Eden seems to be very happy with this deal. With having this much mysterium, he can buy the ship 3 times over. And so as they all sit, they joyfully talk, they rejoice that the fighting is over, and we see Eden and goes to the other room. But before he makes his exit, this is where he lets them all know that he's been playing them all along, that he knew and saw the opportunity to be able to take both the Mysterium and his ship back. And of course he's going to take this opportunity, and this is where we see him close the doors and open up the hatch. And opening this hatch, we see the entirety of the Marauders shot and jettisoned into space. And as they sit there freezing, Emma Frost is breathing
Excuse me.
some kind of
No, so nasty.
moments before they die. But picking up down in New York, picking up at the X-Men treehouse, this is where we have 2 individuals. The first one being an individual holding a Molotov cocktail, getting ready to burn down the treehouse, completely frustrated with people just being everywhere, feeling like they are taking over. He is taking his anger and frustration, and he is taking it out on this
Lincoln, will
treehouse.
you tell these
That is
simple...
when Miss Chantel makes her appearance, appearing out of thin air. We see her grab that cocktail and tell this saying that she is abused and he should be ashamed. And that is where this issue ends. So let's go ahead and this entire thing happened. So as I said, 100% know in this case, Makoma has ever had, and seeing her handle situation like this, having it go to a Sebastian Shaw there in the back of her because he's guarding himself. He knows that he can go against her and did not have any choice. No, he definitely got able to get in there. He's right now. He killed all of them by saying, maybe someone will come and save them and take their lead before he gets away with the ship. We're going to see how it all plays out. With Mortis Chantel showing up, that is an interesting turn of developments. Because for the most part, she hasn't been paying herself enough. She's been running around wanting herself. And we can only assume that she's come to the treehouse to talk to Cyclops and to talk to Marvel, aka Jean Grey, to raise what's going to happen. But yeah, let me know comments. Have not yet. If you want to hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're and we are content getting coming out. And until the next breakdown. Authority does not count. Ultimately, as rich as it looks, it's flat out wrong. Don't blame me. I don't got the sense. We call it green, but it's only white. Status is
Not fucking bode well. Got you now, dipshit.
Get this asshole
Cover
off
me while I reload.
Boy, talking about vacation. I got some weight in mind, even though it is cold.
right now.
Gotta protect our heritage.
How's Chester Moreau make his money?
Mr. Moreau's got some of our other Southern Union guys in a job for him. A big one. Secret.
Your ass is mine now.
I ain't ready to die. I'm not fucking ready.
Who admits to having the same appetite as R. Kelly? That's sick. Why would you openly say that?
Hey, man.
That should have been my when her back to the scene. That should have been my clue. But no, I was called up to the scene. And one of the things I so I'm like,
Get, boy.
and I see her with her high school friend. And I'm like, oh. So I call her up and I ask her what she told me. And I was like, serious question.
Leave, boy. I got him. I got him. God damn it, get him.
Get me some cover fire in Frisco.
You got it.
Yes! I hit him! God damn, I got him! Just like good old days. Don't leave nothing left! God!
Who? You said Bianca. Well, I mean, you did have a all glute workout, ain't it? No, I was going. I wasn't concerned about her. I was going back to you talking about your booty hurting.
I'm in Frisco with eyes on targets.
Well, that's something you got to tell them, man. You know, I really, really can't relate because I'm not sharing the man that I'm with. So
It's not you these women around here don't want down.
That has a whole lot to do with it too.
Got it.
You got real police incoming.
What is it that you want to do? No, nigga, it's happening partially also because you're fucking her, nigga. Are you crazy right now? And nigga, you safeguard. Nigga, you didn't use it with caution. So fucked her, you dumb nigga. I didn't have to worry about it. R. Kelly is a predator. It was him. And this is where R. Kelly went wrong. R. Kelly, village man. R. Kelly,
Right, I can sacrifice it through few things, but ain't nobody go get sacrificed, or ain't nobody go sacrifice getting treated bad. I was just about to say, like literally just about to say, it's a little bit more than getting treated bad. Let you tell it, that motherfucker be putting the hands on you and it, like, I mean, like, at the same time, that wouldn't
Dealing with some of these assholes. They go from shit that they say because they got a little money. Motherfuckers. I got money too. I just need to go around using it to put my name on every goddamn thing. That's a firearm. Every goddamn firearm in London and Washington. You just wait. It'll be 3 or 4 years.
Lock me up.
Holy shit. No, I'm serious. They just got me using this fucking shit.
especially, yeah.
Bitch, you want low and inside. Get my eyes something. I'm not fucking ready.
Special about shit doesn't have a lot of sex. Because everything you do to her is fun, it's all red. And you got that type of appetite.
give you what you want, but you got to go home with
But like, R. Kelly could have had the baddest of dope shit he wanted. But R. Kelly had an appetite. And this appetite is the downfall of many no, it's not. I'm not just but R.
How's
Kelly
Chester Moreau make his money?
allowed
the Bel Air
his
supermarket.
appetite
There's something going on there after hours. Whatever it is, Mr. Moreau's trying to keep it real quiet.
once you get into
You work for me now.
orchestrating trafficking, R. Kelly was having other people find that girl's orphan. And that's when it began. No, what's not? Oh, I can't. This nigga is acting as if like him fucking underage girl. He's not when he got out of here. He's acting as if like everything is justifiable up until the point where he went to his extreme medicine. Nigga, the moment when you are contemplating fucking underage girl talking to you sexually in any manner, that actually literally just talking to him in an inappropriate way. As soon as you think about that, that's when he got out of here. Not when he was giving other people to do it for him. No. Also, it's not a kink, it's a problem. Don't label this as I'm gonna no, it's a problem. I wasn't looking to say she was doing it. We both like cereal. But you can't get to the reality that unless it's obvious, it has to be obvious. You're a man. There's such a large concern that people and like he was on edge. Like it's a bit of anxiety. It was the girl I was talking to, bro. She was not happy with that let her know all thinking of pedo crime. And I swear to God, it was I'm not fucking I have to my own way. So it's not even like uncommon. It's definitely not rare. Talk about you might not have those people in circle of any talk about it's not this one year. Everyone else on edge. On edge. No. On the same boat. Fire. Where did that stop? That's not you can have less experience. Legally and even morally. Besides what's the name? Morally. Think about what you're saying right now. You obviously wearing a Ferrari hat. Looking like you obviously have money. You have enough leverage to get like that, but reality is most of the adult men themselves don't need to have that leverage to get a cooperative
Facts.
It's like going like there's no way that you're being able to the type of control that Martin Miller anyone perceiving value would have for a young woman or a teenager. Come on, bro. The fact that we even have this conversation is already wrong, but the fact that he's turned around and trying to like explain the mentality of it is simply when you say exemplify it. The only reason why he crossed the line is because he had a ring on.
I could use some supply.
Bro,
Your way now.
no. Having this fucking insatiable desire to around women don't have that much experience. Bro, that is not.
Anything you want here?
That's not a common thing.
Show
A
me
lot
what
It's
you
of
got.
not normal, my dude.
an odd manner, bro.
Good. Call me if you need me.
Down there and look around your corners.
So, wanna break into a dead guy's apartment and drop her off the shit? Sounds like an afternoon.
Only reason I'm walking this route is because my car's in the shop again.
One of the first things to come out after the sale in regards to the Turtle was the IDW Comics version of the Ninja Turtle. This version of the Turtle came way back in 2011, so that was even before the animated television show. This comics version of the Turtle is still the big part that's going on.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's her way of trying to relate because she has somebody to talk about. And how much your homegirl? Just go and get your own man, sis. Like,
Never trusted him, so. But for now, just get your boys ready. No telling when Remy might call on them.
I'll figure out what that was.
What's happening? She brutally killed the assassins and then tended to his wife, poisoning them from their sleep. If that would have happened, Tang Shen looked at them as she seen them dying and with the final words that Yoshi purpose of vengeance to leave the place far away. Saying, this is what you do to his friend who died in Yoshi's arms. Yoshi then gathered his sons and fled behind his dead wife. Mountain. It's probably a very sad scene. The boys came up to the father, not knowing what was going on. But the next word is what I believe is the most tragic event of the whole series. Yoshi and his boys now live in the mountains, secluded away from everyone. For a while they're saying their life slowly got better. They see the passing of time. Also,
I think we got trouble.
I guess I could be grateful I'm not sharing you.
Dropping like fucking flies. Hit him from the other side. There he is. Hit him while he's reloading. Going out like that. Switching out ammo.
Can't kill what ain't here. This is a crock of
I guess no amen to that.
I'm in Frisco Fields and need some new wheels.
I'll get her out to you right away. Set of Hot Wheels just like you ordered.
That's a big help.
Nothing I can.
I'm your host, Paul, aka the guy who's been sweating like Kevin Feige after I saw this brand new Batman trailer. It's filled with Easter eggs, hidden details, and a lot of callbacks to the comics that we're going to be breaking down in this video. All spoilers ahead, so if you don't want anything potentially ruined, then I recommend that you check out now. If you did enjoy the video, then please hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to smash the subscribe button like it's Jason Watson. With that out of the way, bit of a dark night joke there. Now let's get into the Batman trailer. Okay, so the last time we had a proper look at the film was during the first DC fandom over a year ago. It's been a long Halloween waiting until this October, but we now have one of the most conclusive looks at the film that we'll get before it releases in March. When the initial panel dropped, Matt Reeves confirmed that he only filmed 25% of the movie at the time, but it's now fully wrapped and we know a lot of things about the film. According to leaks from the screening, this will be an almost 3-hour epic that is somewhat of a detective noir film. Batman will narrate major parts of the movie, and this is of course a nod to not only the genre, but also how the characters' comics are in general. Dark Knight Returns especially is filled with inner monologues, and it's nice that they managed to bring these two things together. Batman will also wrestle with killing, and according to leaks on the movie, he will come close to it, but not actually do it. What we know for definite though is that this is a very brutal Batman who will use pipes and any weapons he can find to kick the crap out of criminals. Hopefully, he pays for their hospital bills too.
I'm in Frisco Fields and need some new wheels.
I'll get around to you right away.
On the trailer is that we hear his voice, and it sounds slightly modulated, but not to the point that it's completely distorted. I really like this rendition, and for me, it's up there with what I imagine Batman to sound like when I read Batman Year One. Now, the trailer itself was worth sitting through 3 hours of fluid warm stagger. We opened in a diner, and this looks like it's
Hey there, new Bordeaux.
His signature riddle mark in the cappuccino. See Batman questioning him as he's in prison. And there's a lot of Silence of the Lambs vibes from this. On his shirt, you might also notice that it says hospital, so it's possible that he was taken to Arkham, which in this universe is a psychiatric institute. Daily Riddler has set things up around the city, and it's very much terrorizing it with his insignia. I actually think this coffee might be somewhat of a clue that it could hold reference in a future riddle with either the location or something dropped here being of some importance. He's taken in by Gordon and his men, which is when we go to the Warner Brothers logo and also watch the Bat single being very important. As in the show that Batman is
Check out the whole thing. Run.
I believe that there will be a straight relationship with them because we know that the test is getting somewhere as the police fire upon him, and it could be that the riddle frames Batman. This is such an amazing is really Batman's playground. Now, according to other leaks from the screening that were dropped on Twitter, the Riddler will be very much a jigsaw-type figure that puts people in small drugs. This was seen in the film trailer with the explosive collar on the DA, and this was actually based on the that was used in a robbery. If you want to know more about this, and I definitely recommend that you check out the Netflix documentary Evil Genius, as it's a very harrowing tale that they're clearly pulling from. In the same way that Batman is a symbol for the city, Riddler is very much seen in the same vein, and we catch some footage of him which says that he's live streaming. It also seems like he's gained a lot of followers who are of course sick of corruption in Gotham. Now coming back to the bat signal, and Bruce very much remarks on it, and how it's not just a call, it's also a warning. All criminals should be terrified to be out there, and thus they resort to hiding amongst gangs, which we catch the next shot. Now this is actually the Penguins gang, which we can tell due to their black and white face paint. They attempt to be Batman, but he completely outmatches them, and we see a moment from the first trailer in which he was shot. This kind of shows just how bulletproof the armor is, and later on we see that it's made space. Getting an idea of these two shots, as that's exactly what the criminals go. As well as the second shot misses, it allows Bruce to use a deafening electronic device that might be based upon sonar technology, which is of course we see that he's losing terrible in the city. We've said that during the costume test that he put black eye makeup on, and whenever we've seen this in a film before when Bruce has taken the mask off, there's been nothing really. They finally acknowledged it as it's such a good character design. It shows someone just how much it is. Now, as for the middle of the film, what it means in it, all of the evil books like the Long Halloween, Batman and One, and some of them all grounded in two stories. I actually have a big theory that this story is also going to bring a lot of elements of Dark Victory in as well. And in case you don't know, it's actually the direct sequel to Long Halloween. Long Halloween involved the killer Holiday, members of the Mafia, Holiday struck here. Dark Victory was somewhat level that, as it had a new serial killer emerging in Gotham, who struck policemen and high-ranking officials. Judging by what Riddler is doing, he's attacking people like the mayor, the commissioner, DA, and so on, in order to bring an end to the corruption in Gotham. Now beyond this, the cover of Dark Victory is very similar aesthetically to the recently released posters. They all dropped through the week and showed images of Batman against a striking red background. The image of the Riddler also feels somewhat similar to the in the book, but it all ties together pretty neatly in my opinion. Now, in addition to this, Matt Reeves put out a tweet yesterday when promoting the posters that said, "What's black and blue and dead or low?" This could be Nightwing, however, it could also be a reference to the police force being taken out by the Riddler. In the trailer, the Riddler does say that he meets Batman. I think this might be cropped from another moment in the movie, or it may just be him referring to how Batman is the law. I actually think that he's going to be saying this to Savage during one of his many murders, and Savage is actually the that just makes a lot of sense to me. Now in the book it's revealed that it's actually Sophia who is behind the killing. This somewhat juxtaposes the revealing Long Halloween, which is his son Alberto who's carrying out the crimes. In the movie we know that Selena will be his daughter, and though I don't think she's a serial killer, it all kind of ties everything together. Long Halloween also has a side tangent called When in Rome, which features Catwoman looking for her father, and it turns out to be Falcone, so yeah, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Sorry, it's really good. Now, according to leaks, and well, just the way the trailer looks in general, Bruce will actually be in his Batman persona most of the time, and he won't actually care about appearing normal. This is his mission, and he will stop at nothing to make sure that it's carried out. This also goes back to the comics, as it was in both Earth 1 and Zero yet, he didn't really put focus on his Bruce Wayne persona. However, come the close of the books, Alfred convinced him that it would be a and everyone around him to be that seems to make a lot of sense for what we see here. Now at this point, we have Batman looking over the book and smiling, just as the sun is setting. It's right that we see Batman and the out of the day. In this moment is the character watching the sun go down, which will allow him to be able to run in the shadows. There's a woman of the and the credit shows the city, everything that's inside the watch. I love the way they know some of the things that he lives, and it was very much like Tropic. No need to say that he's not getting elements of the past skyline. It's just the CGI to bring it closer to what the image has two looks in the trailer, namely her short hair one and also one where she wears wigs. This very much speaks to how she has two sides to her personality, which is of course a comment on her character. We see somewhat of the relationship between Selena and Bruce, as there's a lot of passion, but also a lot of fighting. It's clear they really work on the chemistry between the pair, and I just buy them as a couple and really want to ship them. So what kids say, I don't know, I'm 33. Now we also get a look at Penguin, in which he stares over the city, and at that moment the car belongs to him and his criminal empire. We catch Andy Serkis' Alfred, and it's a much rougher version than what we've ever seen before. It seems like it's fully removed through the costume design, but he actually helped to train Bruce after accepting that he was fully committed to his mission. He also had a prosthetic leg, so it'll be interesting to see if that's brought across, as it kind of hints to the character's past and what he went through on his many combat missions. Now in the trailer he has a scar on his eye. I'm guessing that this is just a very subtle note to his past. He says that if this continues, it won't be long until Bruce has nothing left, and this is very much the stance that he took in the comics. Alfred is of course somewhat of a father to Bruce, and he cares about him a lot, so it makes sense why he wouldn't want him doing this. Now we can do a skyward shot of Bruce mapping out the clues that have been left by the Riddler, and this includes the sins of my father, No More Lies, Coulson, Savage, Mitchell, and Renewal is a Lie. Coulson is the film's DA, and as we've said, Savage is ex-commissioner, so I'm guessing that these are victims of the Riddler. Gordon is a lieutenant in this film, and the commissioner being killed will leave room for him to take his place. The other clues, especially the father one, relates to Bruce, and I believe that the Renewal is a Lie comment is talking about the industrial side of Gotham going through renovation. Eventually, this is simply to line the pockets of the elite, and thus the Riddler is trying to destroy the corruption that the Waynes may have been a part of. But to what I believe is the Iceberg Lounge, aka the Penguins Club. Here he comes face to face with the villain, who doesn't seem that shook by him. It's completely brutal, and we have heard that there are fights at the Iceberg Lounge, so this moment lines up a lot with comics.
What you think's behind that shit?
At his disposal to go toe-to-toe with people, and it's such a brutal moment. Now we catch another one of Catwoman's
You ain't
wings,
one of
and
us.
he goes to the
Move
skies
on.
before a party under his maps. It shows the similarities between the two, and she says maybe they're not so different. Cementing the complexity of her character. Catch Batman and
Get me some cover fire in Frisco.
Happens either at the end of the film or immediately after the explosion at the mayor's funeral. This would explain the damage on his batsuit. Also, looks like he's had better days than us sitting for 3 hours and then hearing the combat talking about assumption. One of the death viewers a song yet. Do a rap. One, do a rap. Now finally we close out with the God Jays, which I think will follow.
Think I smell pussy over there.
The Penguin is being played by Paul Dunn. He said it has a rather short part of the movie, so I'm guessing that this will last about one scene. I love to see Paul throughout the films like Scarecrow did in the Dark Knight trilogy. I think that would be the best way to use the character. He thinks he's got Batman, but like the Phoenix from the flames, he comes crashing through in what looks like imagery ripped right out of the night. Batman struts towards the overturned car, looking like death himself, and thus it ends this absolutely incredible trailer. Now before we go into my reaction, I just want to kind of clear something up, as I know a lot of you wanted me to cover the full DC fandom event. I tried doing that last year, and in the end just resorted to doing camp reactions the entire day. And though it did okay, I kind of felt like I could have put more effort into the videos, but there was just so much to cover. So for this year, I weighed up doing the two, and in the end, it just decided last minute, I'd rather put out the best video I can than try and cover 5 different things, and for the videos to all be terrible, which, to be honest, they would have been. Now, I've been watching the panels, and I'm really excited for the future. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you a reason why my home life being is looking deader than Bruce Wayne's parents. That being said, it's also pretty late in the UK, so I do kind of want to circle back around to this trailer and do an even more in-depth breakdown later in the week. Now, as for my thoughts on it, I was absolutely blown away by this new look. And again, I feel like it's an incredible film. It shows the best. You really don't need the studio trying to be normal, and they actually have the freedom to explore things that pop their heart and experiences that they make.
Right.
This brand new look is absolutely amazing. The whole tone of it makes it feel more like Seven, so that's a little nervous instead of a comic book movie. And I had goosebumps whilst watching it, which is definitely saying something. Everything just seems part of this really incredible world. I think next year that it's really going to make an impact. I missed out on some of two episodes popping up. I'm excited as about hell. I feel like this trailer is going to be something I'll watch again and again and again 500 times in the next 10 minutes. I'm going to sleep tonight. Now, obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the trailer, so make sure you comment below and let me know. As I said, we're going to be doing another breakdown later in the week, so make sure you drop some of the Easter eggs that we missed below. We are running a competition right now, giving away 3 copies of the Phase 3 MC box set on the 30th of October, and all you have to do to be able the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the teaser. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one on screen right now, so message me on Twitter on Heavy Spoilers, and that's you. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out a breakdown of Halloween Kills, which will be linked on the screen right now. Horror is it's got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, I'd love to go through that with you, so make sure you head over there.
Where you think you're going?
Thank you for staying through the video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you take care of yourself. Stay indoors, and the Batman is about, and I'll see you on Monday. Peace. Wants to know what the fantasy about our cabinet. There should be no regulation of firearms. That could be further
Lincoln, will you tell these simple fucks that you gotta react to CC with the vineyard getting a completely dry environment?
The NRA believes that deaths of innocent is a necessary price to pay until you exercise their What's going on, guys? This is Rob. If you guys enjoy my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that little bell so you never miss out on my sex. Okay, so Spider-Man Homecoming comes out in July. And after finishing the Incredible Hulk, a lot of people really seem to enjoy the idea of like long series, like picking a character, a team, or something like that, and just doing like an entire run, discovering like one writer takes over the title and just does like a whole run. You know, Red Pack's Incredible Hulk is a really good example. It's also the reason why I think I'm gonna go ahead and dive into it. But it's also the reason why we're gonna do Jeff Johns for the Lantern because it was so good. That's gonna take like a year and a half to finish the same book. But that's also what we're doing in Justice because you know the really popular runs you enjoy them. I really enjoy them, so I feel like but with Spider-Man Homecoming coming out in July, my intent is to do all different amazing Spider-Man, you know, when Spider-Man Homecoming came out. But after, you know, the idea of people loving the Incredible Hulk so much, I sat down and I said, okay, well, the issue with Spider-Man, all different amazing Spider-Man, is the fact that it's basically just a continuation of Dan Slott's run from when he first took over the title. It's all just one great big, huge, giant story. And so because of that, I got to figure, well, I mean, why not go back and do Dan Slott's run? Because it really starts with Spider-Man big time, you know, taking Peter Parker back to his roots the way he should be in the eyes of Dan Slott and really in the eyes of a lot of fans. And then basically moving forward all the way to the events of Spider Island, all the way to the events of Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, all that kind of stuff. And then basically all new world really kind of picking up with all different amazing Spider-Man. By the time the movie comes out, this is what I'm shooting for. And the way I have it scheduled, it should work out. I mean, coming out every Monday, it would just be a Spider-Man video running up until all the amazing Spider-Man in July. But a couple of things I want to know for you as we get into this. Here's really J. Michael Straczynski's run. I don't want to go super in-depth into it, but there are a few things we need to highlight. First and foremost was One More Day. One More Day is one of the most divisive stories among Spider-Man fans. Usually it's because, you know, people who picked up Spider-Man before the events of One More Day, they were reading about the marriage and the struggles and trials and tribulations between Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson. They didn't identify with them. They loved the marriage connection of them. I mean, Peter and Mary Jane Watson were never like Superman and Lois Lane. But they were the most there were a few people just hopped on the bandwagon and they just needed to make this but Now, Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson are no longer married. They basically ended their marriage by selling it off more or less to Mephisto in order to make sure that Aunt May lived. Even though she was dying at the time, it was granting Aunt May a new with more than a she was taking a lot of changes. One of the first things he did is
Oh boy, that feels good. Well, come on then. Sit that coon down.
So because of this, the show basically paired off fans and other fans who loved it, fans who hated it. It was kind of a
Found you.
Basically the idea that they were destroyed. So what happened was a financier by the name of Daniel Bennett, I think it was, came along and basically bought it. Now, it was done against the will of J. Jonah Jameson. In fact, he was hospitalized at the time that it actually happened. Instead, it was really J. Jonah Jameson's wife, Marla, who engineered the selling of the Daily Bugle. But essentially, this more or less led to everybody being sent off of it, and people just not really being tied in. So because of that, it was moved from the landscape in a lot of ways. But then we also had Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker and J. Jonah Jameson, one of the things Parker as not really but somebody that had a lot of respect for religion. J. Jonah Jameson, the proof of what he did is it shattered the trust that he had in Peter Parker and more or less, landed and process here, trying to protect Jameson. And while Jameson looked at the death of the security guard and said that was honorable, that was a great thing that he did, Peter Parker doctored the photos and he could look like Jameson and walk on. So what happened is Jameson took his name and sealed to that and so Peter Parker was in the house. So that's why he's when it comes to. So there were a couple things that were introduced here and there. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Project Spider-Man big time. This is really again dance luck, making Peter Parker his own. This is all after the events of Civil War. So it's Steve Rogers story the landscape and so what this does is it gives the Avengers really looking because it's like before Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, Iron Man, Wolverine, Captain America, Hawkeye, so forth. And they're basically responding to the robots that are what's making happen now. This is really dance luck leading up to the events of Superior Spider-Man when Otto Octavius took over the body of Peter Parker. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people love the early run of Dan Slott because there were so many plot threads that started and extended out into every 4 or 5 years or for it all come to fruition. But when it did, it felt rewarding. It felt like this great big huge incredible experience. So really with the various superheroes going through and fighting against these guys, we pick up with J. Jonah Jameson and again with Foreman. Now of course because of the trials and tribulations they experienced, they were going through couples counseling and different things like that. But again, it's really just Dan Slott saying, hey, here's what we resolved. We have J. Jonah Jameson as mayor right now. We have him and Marla dealing with family issues, dealing with a couple of issues. Because again, taking
That don't sound good.
Rounded level of traditional superheroes and traditional characters as we knew them, albeit in some slightly different roles. But what we do at this point is we pick up with Captain America. Now, within this story, this one is kind of a side plot, like kind of a side thing, but it really ties into Dr. Octopus. But this is a small version of what I'm talking about when I talk about, the instances where Dan Slott's building into bigger things. Because this is not actually Steve Rogers. Instead, what happens is Steve Rogers tells this guy who's standing guard with regards to this Vertex shuttle to basically go away. Say, hey, look,
Sandra told me to reach out. I certainly appreciate some help with the phone.
Give me just a sec.
This is one of the most important artifacts we have right now. Not anyone can just keep an eye on it. Now, of course, the other thing here is Dan Slott builds on the legacy of Captain.
Come on now, Snowflake. Where you think you're going?
Comics have characters interchangeable. They have characters of continuity, characters that change. Some characters are
Take your beating, boy.
Different writers can take a different view of the character, like a different like that.
Kill one of our brothers! Hey, asshole! He's dropped! He's going down!
So, we're on things on this point. was really the idea of how Peter Parker sees himself. Because what he does is he sits there and he says, hey, look, I basically have a
Yeah, I'm surprised you ain't smart yet.
with my new girlfriend, Carly Cooper. I'm not with Mary Jane Watson. The idea of how
You say you went to sleep.
yeah, I'm one of the smartest people out there. It's always the idea that in his mind, there's always someone smart. There's always someone out there that's that's not really the case. Spider-Man is one of the smartest people out there. Now, at this point, we pick that up again with Andrew Air Force Base. And again, this is basically the chameleon who's masquerading as Steve Rogers. So the reason why is because they're basically carrying out a mission on behalf of Dr. Rogers. So again, this is Dr. Rogers who is setting the stage for some masquerading plans later on down the line. He's basically implementing his own scheme on the side. This entire conflict here is essentially designed to be a distraction. Not only that, Dr. Octopus actually has a lot of respect for Peter Parker. This is why I say this is Dan Slott setting the stage for Dr. Octopus taking over the mind of Peter Parker doing Superior Spider-Man. Because what he says is, at this moment right now, Peter Parker is really, really smart. But Dr. Octopus also recognizes that a time will come where it's in this almost immediate moment that Peter Parker is going to find a way to basically deactivate all these different bombs that he has planted on these devices around New York. And this is why I say that Peter Parker is just as smart as Reed Richards and Tony Stark. Because what he does is he sits down and says, oh my god, I figured out what's going on because of their mind. In the mind of Reed Richards and Stark and so on, this countdown is going. And when it reaches zero, all these bombs are going to go off and New York is going to vanish off the face of the earth. Hope and hype, too. That is basically daylight savings time. And so, Dr. Octavius, or Dr. Octopus, is saying, now, what do you want to do now? What's going on? Allows Peter Parker and
You boys are fucked now.
Find out what those plans will be later on. But from here, we transition to Frontline. Now, again, this is all part of the post-Civil War landscape. Remember, Frontline came to prominence with Ben Urich and Sally Floyd during Civil War, and it got a lot of popularity because it was basically covering the events of Civil War from the perspective of Ben Urich and Sally Floyd eventually left the Daily Bugle when they originally started out. They took the Frontline concept with them, basically this online posting source, and they launched their own publication on Frontline. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. A lot of folks like Robbie Robertson, they are all taking up residence as part of Frontline. And it's because of that, we again pick back up with Peter Parker. And the funny thing about this is, again, during Dan Slott's run, there was a girl named Michelle, and she essentially became Peter Parker's roommate to a degree. They really had a relationship, although it was more of a physical one, really than an actual, being love each other on a side scale. But it just came by way of Michelle's brother, being convicted of a crime, and her keeping an eye on her brother's place while he was gone. Peter Parker, of course, having been roommates with her brother before he went but this is again Dan Slott wrapping all these things up and answering all these things, removing them from the landscape. Because what happens is Peter comes home, and Michelle's like, yeah, I'm going back to Chicago now because my brother's out. And so, that's pretty much it. And so Peter Parker is more or less just kind of left to call around to different people and see if he can find a roommate and see if he can find a place to take a residence. Now, that's the whole thing because this is Peter Parker. Several everyday things like he's got to do a quick fast and in a hurry. Of course, he goes to Carly, but their relationship is still pretty new. So she's like, look, we more or less just started dating not too long ago. I'm not really comfortable with moving in. And so she basically says no, which is kind of messed up. Of course, he goes to Flash Thompson, and Flash Thompson's like, no, that's not going to happen, man. Like, you're not going to live with me. And he even goes to Mary Jane Watson. The funny thing about this is Dan Slott, it was really kind of a funny moment because it was like Dan Slott was trolling the fans. It was like he was trolling Mary Jane Watson fans. Like, hey, how you guys really want to see Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson get back together? The fans were like, yeah. He's like, well, that's not going to happen. And so, like, that day, he ends up having to leave. He ends up walking away. When the two of them agree not to be roommates together. And so ultimately, he goes to Long Bay. Now, the cool thing about this is that Long Bay was already spending time, is already hanging out with the son of J. Jonah Jameson, along with J. Jonah Jameson Sr., the two of them, spending time with one another hanging out, as well as by the name of Dr. Madison Jameson. Now, the reason why Madison Jameson matters here is because Long Lee was telling her that Peter Parker saying, hey, Peter Parker is one of the smartest people on the face of the planet. And so by the time Peter Parker arrives, starts knocking on the door, he says, hey, what have you
Need anything? Did you learn anything?
Hit those bastards pretty hard, and all I got was a single word.
You know something? That tracks. Moreau is the majority owner of Bel Air Supermarket. As soon as you started hitting those racist assholes, the phones lit up. No one mentioned the Bel Air by name, but I did get a tone. 10 p.m. And enough circumstantial evidence to tie it all together. Whatever's going on, it's happening at that supermarket tonight.
I'll look into it.
Ethan, listen. The thing some of those guys were hinting at, it's bad. Real bad. So go in quiet. We need to find out exactly what Moreau is up to, and we won't get another chance.
You got it, Jackie.
Sound. his lab and starts going through his personal things. He's met by Phil Urich. Now, Phil Urich is one of the people who was associated with the big vehicle. And this point here is that he's basically the nephew of the now famous Phil Urich. There's so much reporting really against the Civil War. But what happens is Phil Urich, while he's being attacked by a hobgoblin, essentially just freaks. Now, with Phil Urich, the funny thing about him is that he was a goblin at one point in time. In fact, he was the Green Goblin during the events of the Onslaught saga. So it's not like he's brand new to all this. He's not a creation by Dan Slott. Instead, for the character of Phil Urich, there's some degree of familiarity in a lot of different ways.
I'm in Frisco with eyes on top.
Now, as far as I'm aware, the only
Sandra told me to reach out. I certainly appreciate some help with the phones.
I'd be happy to take care of that for you.
But if I am, feel free to let me down there. But as far as I'm aware, he was only ever the Green Goblin. But taking over the role of Hobgoblin, what's really interesting about this is that it really shines into effect the nature of the Kingpin. In the sense that Kingpin doesn't really care who it is who fulfills a contract, as long as what he's trying to acquire is brought in. You know, as long as what it is he's looking for is brought to. Now, at this point, I would basically pick up
Look out!
What is wrong with you? J. Jonah Jameson still hates the idea of Spider-Man. He's always wanted to be Spider-Man. What's kind of cool is Captain America shows up and says, hey, look, I really want Spider-Man. He said, like, maybe the whole honorary thing that came to the city. I really think Spider-Man should be the one to get this. Now, this immediately spikes, you know, this immediately strikes J. Jonah Jameson. No, that's not going to happen. I absolutely hate Spider-Man. I'm not going to give it to him. I'm going to give it to my son. Now, the funny thing about this is that his son shows up. You know, basically,
You're dead! You're dead!
Because he's done so many great things. So it's not the most significant thing in the world. It's just kind of funny to see.
Let me at it. Oh, Polly, smile, asshole.
With Horizon, really starting to get this full explanation.
What the fuck now?
First was part of the secrets, not the secrets, but it was part of like the top 7 people who were there. The ones that had come to go take these were the ones that want to. And Peter Parker basically did his own lab. He's going to be able to go on whatever it is he wants to do. The issue is that one is that we're studying what's the middle of the movie. He's doing to try to get things in order.
Come on! I know you don't belong here!
What's in here? What do you think? This is the smartest people on the face of the planet. And so Peter Parker's suddenly not there and Spider-Man is there. Then it would seem like the easiest thing to figure out and the easiest thing to understand to come to the conclusion of is that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Not only that, remember, Phil Urich has his, goblin scream, so to speak, which basically, it wreaks all kinds of havoc in the sense that it's basically a sonic scream. And so because this incapacitates Peter Parker, it causes physical reaction in the sense that he's bleeding out his eyes, and so what happens is in the middle of this conflict, Peter Parker is able to make his escape by the skin of his pants. Maxwell down gives the fire on him, and what it does is it kind of balances things out in the sense that it more or less sends, the hobgoblin off, just kind of running for the middle of nowhere. Spider-Man, of course, chases after him, and it's kind of this cat and mouse game. In the sense that Spider-Man is trying to figure out why the hobgoblin's come back. He's trying to figure out who's there, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because the hobgoblin's able to make off with this reverb that's been created by Johnny Joffrey. So one of the funny moments here, this is why I love this so much, is at this point, once it's all said and done, we have Captain Watanabe of the New York Police Department that shows up, and of course, Peter Parker changing out of his Spider-Man uniform has to come up with an excuse for why it is that he wasn't out there. But one of the people was like, I took a head count, and Peter Parker's not here. When he go into his lab, he's wearing headphones and he's naked. And his response is that, well, this is how I function. Like, I put headphones on, I listen to music, I study when I'm naked. It was the only excuse that he could come up with for the moment. And this is why so many fans love Peter Parker, because it was just small moments like this that were absolutely hilarious. It was small moments like this that were amazing. But at this point, we pick up with Hobgoblin joining Wilson Fisk. And so I say, Wilson Fisk doesn't really care what goes on with the contract. He says, where's Roderick Kingsley? Like, where's Kingsley at? And the response of Phil Urich and Hobgoblin is, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter at all. He's gone. He's dead. But the contract's been fulfilled. And King then says, cool. Now, the funny thing is, he doesn't really trust Kingsley that much. He's not really sure how he feels about him. But he did uphold the contract. He did fulfill what it was that Kingpin was looking for. And that's all he ever really cares about. Now, at this point, we rejoin Black Cat. And that's why I say she was going to have more of a significant role later on in the story. And I love what Dan Slott does with this. Historically speaking, there's always been this sort of cat and mouse game. I'll take a big this sort of cat and mouse game. It was always this sort of
Hello. Yeah.
And that's really what Dan Slott does here. A lot of sexual tension between the two of them, and a lot of jokes they don't want between the two. What she does is she realizes that Parker has a new suit. He basically has a stealth suit. What he says is this suit is designed to eliminate sound and eliminate being able to see him. So that it minimalizes all of it. And so it's really his own stealth variation of what Tony Stark had done before with the big stealth suit. So this basically allows them to infiltrate Kingpin's base of operations in Shadowland and attempt to try to retrieve the proverbial. Now, something else to keep in mind is that at this point again, Gilbert is Hobgoblin is very much a employee of Kingpin, not to mention that Kingpin himself also had overall, the gist is twofold when it comes to the hand. The first is to infiltrate various, governmental agencies, subvert them from the inside out, operate from the shadows, that kind of thing. But they're basically also for hire. In the sense that if you have enough money, you can hire even key members of the camp to carry out assassinations. Who will be tied to you if you don't need them? But you can hire them for the purpose of these assassinations, being bodyguards, things like that. And that's kind of the neat thing is because they can't or some of the best assassins in the universe. And so if you have them as bodyguards, you're almost guaranteed to stay safe, only with the exception of a few people here and there. Basically, subvert. Wolverine is a good example. Elektra is a good example. Things like that. But in the midst of all this, with Hobgoblin, basically responding to what seems to be a break-in with, Peter Parker riding there on the Black Cat. Black Cat actually leaves Peter. She kind of bails out in the middle of it and says, hey, I was here to help you get this, but I'm literally a cat burglar, and I know a losing game when I see one. So you're on your own. She says, all I'm going to do is go to, Wilson Fisk's personal office, steal some of his property.
Think you'll make it to Ghost?
Wilson Fisk's head of security, so to speak.
They're just getting started upstairs.
How's tonight's crop looking?
Not only that, Hobgoblin basically used his sonic scream in order to overpower the stealth suit, or the stealth aspect of Peter Parker's suit, which
Thank you for
responds
coming
to
out
time by
tonight.
again, basically
Mr. Moreau has asked me to remind you that
sonic
we're
scream
only
from
accepting
affecting the
cash.
issue here is that
And for an
the
additional
news of what's
novelty,
going on with regards to the future party. He has no idea what's
again, this
happening
is a
with
fine
regards to
specimen,
Kirby
no
taken by the
visible
Kingpin.
injuries
And so
or
in the end,
scars.
what ends up happening here is just a matter of circumstance that leads to Felicia Hardy, getting free, Spider-Man being able to make his escape, in the sense that the scream of Hobgoblin reflects off the proverbium and literally begins to start bringing the building crashing down around him and so forth. Peter's able to jump in, he's able to save Felicia, goes against the Kingpin for a little while, but that's really about it. I mean, what he's done was just out of there, and
Do I hear
also
five? 5,000.
responds to
Sold for 5,000.
section of the dance, right? Kind of, giving us a bit of a taste for what comes next. And we have Phil York meeting with everybody in the Daily Bugle, Robert Robertson and all these guys back in the Daily Bugle again, as well as him being, basically being the inside man in the sense of basically knows everything that's going on when it comes to the Daily Bugle. He knows what Peter Parker's individual actions are, despite not knowing that Peter and Spider-Man are one and the same. It's really always been kind of operating from the shadows, and what the inside basically doing is drawing a parallel between Peter Parker.
Spread out! Me some dark meat! Damn, kill that motherfucker!
Peter Parker has basically moved on from the Daily Bugle, and he's taking up residence in the Rise of Lives, where he's basically making his money through playing a lot, but it's really kind of ends with the idea
Feel that? Don't just leave me here!
Watson, that for him, all is right with the world, and it lives up to the title of Spider-Man Big Time, in the sense that Peter Parker has finally hit the big time. He's finally stepped into what he considers to be a successful career. He's no longer scrounging by himself.
Hungry.
Instead, he's got a legitimate career path. His intelligence is being used adequately. He really considers himself to be one of the alive. Okay, so it's a
Well, where are the others?
Chess has got them niggas around Frisco. Just make it fucking quick, you motherfucker.
Ain't trust a rat.
Shit, gotta reload.
And so the result was that Spider-Man fans and so on and so forth, everybody just kind of ran J. Michael Straczynski off the title. And the result was that the Spider-Man publications basically run by a team of people. It was like Joe Quesada said, you know, kind of throwing his hands in the air and saying, what's the reason? Initially, got started this way. Big time, and started eventually took over the Spider-Man title on its own. But the fact remains here that with this whole reshuffling of the Peter Parker mythos, there were a lot of things that were being introduced, a lot of things that were being done, and that's kind of the huge benefit of the story. Is yeah, it is in the middle of everything, but it's in the middle of everything. But it's things fleshed out. And so a lot of the characters that we see popping up here haven't really had their origin story explained, and then it can come here for another 10, 15, 20 issues after this particular publication. But the fact remains here that with Peter Parker, you know, picking up with him, the cool thing is that we kind of get this reminder of everything that's going on. That's what I wanted to touch on for a second. So, you know, the whole origin of Peter Parker.
Gonna find a hole.
And it was a science geek, and by radioactive spider.
I found him. Come on. Happened, but the origin of Menace never really got explored. That didn't happen until Amazing Spider-Man 586, I think. And it turned out to be somebody that we're quite familiar with. But the idea here is that Menace is, in a lot of ways, kind of this reimagining of the Green Goblin. Right? I mean, you know, Norman Osborn is like an intrinsic villain of Spider-Man. You know, Marvel Cinematic Universe is getting against Vulture. That's we know it's only a matter of time before the Green Goblin shows up. You could have Spider-Man.
Tastes alright.
But the idea here is that Menace is really seems to be acting more like a vigilante. You know, in a sense that Menace doesn't really have an adherence to like one particular person. It's just Menace kind of comes and says, here are the things that I'm about, you know, about taking out Spider-Man, so on and so forth. But it's kind of this reminder where things stand. At the same time, there are also a lot of refugees who have been brought
In Frisco with eyes on targets.
Enough said. On our way.
So like they kind of wrap that around towards the end of the story. But again, this is just kind of a reminder of the direction that things are going in terms of Peter Parker, what he stands, what he's about. But this is when you get into the idea of front load. Now,
Sandra told me to reach out.
You boys are fucked now.
I'll be happy to take care of that for you.
Instead of upholding the traditions of Peter Parker, like holding the name of people as a reputable news source, albeit a reputable news source that's planted against Spider-Man. The fact remains that extra minute basically put an into the happening now.
Get on down now. Following the conclusion of Civil War. And what's also going on here is the frontline itself, you know, kind of picking up where J. Jonah Jameson's daily by Bob by Extra Minute, you know, but it's not itself to be a reputable news source. It's not focusing on the blitzing and stuff.
Becky, what did you eat? Did you eat? Yeah, I know it's the fine fucking time for me to be asking that.
But the idea here is that he is involved in these individuals. You know, that Spider-Man was dealing with those individuals who are running off in the fight, all of whom appear to have been trafficked into the United States. And so the idea is that Randall County is working with some third party company, no one it is, but he's working with some individuals to traffic humans into the U.S. for whatever the reason happens to be. But doing is basically picking up with Norman Osborn's Thunderbolts. Now, this started in the aftermath of Civil War. We've done Secret Invasion, right? Like we talked about the Secret Invasion event. You can find that down in the description of this video. Where Secret Invasion basically dealt with the aftermath, following the death of Captain America, following the main Civil War event itself. It was kind of Marvel bringing to a close this whole idea of the Secret Human Registration Act and Secret Invasion concluded with Tony Stark being ousted as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Norman Osborn taking his place. And so because Norman Osborn took his place, Norman Osborn disbanded S.H.I.E.L.D., put Hammer in his place, and basically used the Thunderbolts as a way.
I'm in Frisco Field and need some new wheels.
Just gonna take a squirt, and I'll get her right to you.
I guess we know what's going on with Pennybot, and so what we do is we transition to a place called Feast. And Feast is basically it really stands for the idea of food emergency aid shelter and training. This is where this guy is training for the purpose of routing individuals who are homeless from these places.
Appreciate it.
The tools they need to get back on their feet and to find success. And so what happens is I actually find out that Bob Whitney is volunteering at this facility. The entire basis behind this introduction comes by way of Betty Brand. Now, of course, we'll leave out Betty Brand. She's a long-time member of the Spider-Man mythos, and she goes back, long time. In fact, she was the first romantic interest of the partner before Gwen Stacy. And I don't think it was really short-lived. It was really more, kind of toying around with the idea before Gwen Stacy and get her together. But she's here because of the fact that Dexter Bennett basically says, look, I'm a supporter of Randall Brown. All right, this newspaper is basically going to serve as the media arm of Randall Brown. We're going to do everything we can to get your elected. If there's a publication out there that's posting information that basically contradicts the idea that Randall Brown is the best candidate, then your job, Betty Brand, is to go find information to discredit those individuals. In this instance, Bill Hollis. Bill Hollis is the guy who's basically running against Randall Brown. And what Dexter Bennett says is, go find a guy named Martin Lee who's basically helping to plug him into Bill Hollis. Your job is to report on him and to find dirt on that guy so we can use that to discredit Bill Hollis. So we can say, Bill Hollis is being funded by Bill, he's being funded by a guy who's often happening, whatever it is, they need find information so that we can use it to discredit Bill Hollis. So with Betty Brand showing up here at the Beach facility, this is what we pick up with Eddie Brock. Now, I gotta wait until talk about this. A lot of you guys are probably like, there was a lot going on with Eddie Brock. Yes, there was. I'm talking myself. I actually had this really cool conversation. I can ask some questions about Eddie Brock because there were a few things that I was curious about because I didn't really know how we got from A to B. I knew Eddie Brock was Venom. He was one of Spider-Man's most formidable villains. They were on again, off again allies. Eddie Brock had his own code. But I didn't know how we got from Eddie Brock being Venom to Eddie Brock basically being the cancer agent. And so when I was looking at something like Comic Rock, really could say, basically said that following the events of what we're getting, Marvel looked at Eddie Brock as like this look from the 1990s that was really relevant. So what we wanted to do was reshuffle the Venom concept around and see if they could shuffle around in different characters and then finally find one that could settle. So what they did is they realized the Venom symbiote from Eddie Brock to Matt Gargan, also known as Scorpion. And that's the reason why if you go to Venom is one of the which you will see here, that's Scorpion. That's not actually what you're seeing, really Eddie and Venom is used on occasions. But the idea here is that for the character of Eddie, Marvel did a lot of changing with regards to his origin, with his backstory, and suffering from cancer was the way in which they transitioned things. What Marvel did is with us, I think it was Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 2, the first 5 issues composed a story called The Hunt. And what it basically said is where the original introduction of Venom established that Eddie Brock was a guy who was really basically by Spider-Man, and he walked with the Venom symbiote for retribution. But Marvel doesn't think he came back and said, no, that's not really the case. Instead, what happened was
Mr. Lee had essentially touched Eddie Brock in this instance of looking to Eddie Brand, and he's basically talking about how this place is a place of miracles, but how it's really, God fearing people, so on and so forth. They have to do trouble with the city about this. Now, what this does is basically sets this introduction of the idea of Eddie Brock going from normal Eddie Brock to becoming Anti-Venom. And the way this is done, it actually really was one of these interesting things. There was like a million different things all going on at the same time. But when Peter Parker headed back, going back to the president, he's encountered by Norman Osborn. Now, the reason why is because at this moment right now, Spider-Man is essentially a fugitive. And the reason why Spider-Man's a fugitive is because Norman Osborn, with all his power, all his ability, has been trying to find a way to bring Spider-Man down. The problem with this is that Spider-Man is an Avenger. Spider-Man is one of the world's most celebrated heroes.
Bobby Beal, don't let just any dipshit come in on this, you hear? Top-notch motherfuckers are all we deal with around here.
And had Dr. Strange right in the world's mind that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Of course, he revealed his identity during Civil War. That's why no one knows who he is, because Dr. Strange took care of that for him. So the result is that Norman Osborn, all he really knows is that Peter Parker gets pictures of Spider-Man. The two of them see what he wants to know which one it is. That's what's going on. Norman Osborn basically wants to make Spider-Man look like why Spider-Man places long as they promise so that he will be screaming and knows how to promise. They don't believe that Spider-Man did. But what this does is it allows Norman Osborn to show up in one trouble and in the process of trying to find Peter Parker. Now, with Norman Osborn is leaving Peter Parker in the comics was basically showing up in the Norman Osborn didn't want to see somebody who's Spider-Man, Peter Parker knows that Norman Osborn is the new Goblin, and where Norman Osborn is putting on the front that he's a legit guy, where he's putting on the front to the world that he's a capable director of S.H.I.E.L.D., or I guess the director of Hammer at this point. Peter Parker knows it's only a matter of time before his various needs come to light. So Peter Parker's half waiting it out, half looking for information to verify that Norman Osborn's a bad guy, because of course, that he is. But what Norman Osborn had also done is, in response to the idea that he had to leave Peter Parker's apartment early, he sent the rest of his Thunderbolts out, Songbird, Venom, and so forth. He sent them all out and basically said, go find Spider-Man. Do whatever you need to do, but go find Spider-Man. Of course, not realizing that Spider-Man was going to show up on his doorstep. But what happened is the Venom symbiote was basically tracking down its previous host, tracking down the last host that it had. The issue with this is that one thing to keep in mind, the Venom symbiote has a mind of its own in a lot of ways. Not only that, Matt Gardner doesn't really know how to use it effectively. He's still relatively new to the whole Venom concept, so he's not nearly as adept or as used to Venom as Eddie Brock is. And the result is that the Venom symbiote is actually tracking down, or at least it seems like it's tracking down Eddie Brock. And the reason why is because what it does is it smashes into the Beast facility and encounters Eddie Brock with the intention of re-merging with him. The issue with this is that when the Venom symbiote accesses his body, it jumpstarts this latent these symbiote cells inside the body of Eddie Brock. And what he does is he emerges as an anti-venom. Now, with regards to Marvel creating this standard, they had to find a way to differentiate the two, right? I mean, all the symbiotes have some aspect of them that make them unique. Whether it's Toxin, basically the child of Carnage, whether it is Venom itself, whether it is Carnage itself, whatever the case may be, a lot of the symbiotes have things that make them different, that make them unique. They each share a lot of common traits. The immunity to Spider-Man, Spider Sense, the same sort of abilities that Spider-Man has, wall crawling, shooting webs, so on and so forth. For Anti-Venom, he's basically a guy, or at least the powers that Anti-Venom has are almost like a healing touch, so to speak, in the sense that, the abilities of Martin Lee were absorbed with some capacity or in some form or fashion. But what Anti-Venom has the ability to do is to basically touch the bodies of other people and cleanse them of impurities. And what this does is it gives Venom a weakness to Anti-Venom in the form that whenever Eddie Brock touches the Venom symbiote, the Venom symbiote will start to recoil, will start to sort of go away because of the fact that it's literally being burned. It's like putting fire.
Am I crazy?
So what
Or did you
happens
catch
is
that
Spider-Man,
too?
of course, shows up on the scene, realizing that the Venom's basically shown up at the Feast facility where Aunt May worked. And it's just like this three-way battle between the two. It's actually really kind of cool to see. It's like Spider-Man versus Anti-Venom versus Venom. And it's awesome. I love the way these events, kind of coalesce, the way these little stories coalesce and is that Peter Parker basically says, look, if you're Eddie Brock, then you must be a bad guy, but you're fighting Venom. So, are you a bad guy? Is Peter Parker trying to get his bearings, trying to understand what's going on? But while this is happening, kind of staying out of the way at the same time. And so, a really funny moment ends up
Simon
happening.
told me to reach
Peter
out.
Parker
I
takes this
certainly
philosophy,
appreciate some
the
help with
enemy
the
of my
phone.
enemy is my friend. When he tells, Anti-Venom, he's like, hey, you hate Venom, right? And Anti-Venom's like, yeah. He's like, well, I hate him too. Let's team up. And then they basically team up against Venom and start taking him out. And it's really cool to see. It's really fun to see. But the issue with this is that, when Matt Gargan is basically cured, or he seems like he's cured of this Venom symbiote, where it's basically removed from his body, Anti-Venom basically turns his sights to Peter Parker. Now, the funny thing about this is he says, look, I can sense that you have issues, that your blood is not as pure as it needs to be. Part of this is because of the fact that at some point along the line, you were exposed to radioactive things, so you got a little bit of radiation in your blood. But then he also realizes, oh, you got a lot of radiation in your blood. Now, we know that that's how Peter Parker's powers function. Peter Parker has his abilities because his blood is irradiated. And so if Venom were to be able to go through with what he's doing right now, which is basically purging the radiation from the blood of Peter Parker, he would lose all of his spider powers. And so it's kind of cool seeing this whole thing go on. The problem with this is that while all these events are unfolding, of course, when the cops were showing up, when Menace was trying to take out Hollister, and Menace was forced to leave Bill Hollister behind, that Menace comes across Norman Osborn. Now, this is cool because this is kind of this fraternity familiarity with Norman Osborn, right? Like, there are moments in his character's publication history that are iconic. For example, the death of the Green Goblin. When Harry almost dead when Harry Potter, when Norman Osborn and Peter Parker fought following the night when Stacy died, that it resulted in Norman Osborn falling on his own sword, beating him by his own life. In a lot of ways, this bears some hallmarks to that particular fight in the sense that devices of Norman Osborn. The fight's very similar to the conflict references the instance where Norman Osborn basically died against Peter Parker and says, hey, look, you were impaled on your own fighter before you do it again. Now, conflict with Peter Parker and Anti-Venom, the forces of the Thunderbolts arrive on the scene. The reason why is because of the fact that Norman Osborn is like, look, guys, we gotta go. We gotta bail. The authorities moving in here, we're making too much of a scene. We're supposed to be operating behind the scenes. No one's supposed to know that my hand is here. No one's supposed to catch my hand. So he says, in order to keep that from happening, we gotta bail out. So he says, grab Matt Gargan, we'll get him out of here. And of course, the idea is grab Peter Parker if he can as well. Of course, they're not able to. And Peter Parker essentially makes his escape at the same time. It's Marvel setting the stage for the whole event, for the whole situation with the future of Anti-Venom, in the sense that Anti-Venom kind of sits down for a second and says, okay, Spider-Man took off, I can go after Spider-Man, or I can go after Venom. What Anti-Venom says is, I'm going to pursue Venom. My goal is to take him out and remove the last vestiges of the Venom symbiote, those little cells, what have you, from the body of Scorpion, basically removing his ability to become Venom. And so because of this, with everything kind of wrapping up, Peter Parker travels back, checks on his office, makes sure that everything's all right. But then we also have Norman Osborn speaking directly to Randall Brown. And what we find out is that Norman Osborn and Randall Brown were essentially working together in the sense that Randall Brown was trafficking people into the U.S. by way of the various, and so on and so forth that belonged to Norman Osborn. Of course, this was really, kind of a big deal. It was a very hush-hush thing for Osborn, just because of the fact that it became to light that he was complicit in the trafficking of humans. He would bring down everything that he's worked so hard for. Because remember, what Norman Osborn's trying to do is basically take over the United States. We've talked about that before. We haven't really covered Dark Reign directly, but that was the whole basis of Dark Reign, was him trying to take over the United States, the Dark Avengers, the Dark X-Men, so on and so forth. It was him trying to conquer everything. And so what he does is he grabs the camera that Peter Parker had basically left behind, forgetting that it was there, and he starts showing the photos to the members of the Thunderbolts, and he says, there's a weakness here. There's a weakness here that we can exploit. Now, what he does is he says, whenever this camera's posted up, it's basically whoever Spider-Man is getting pictures for himself. And what he says is that inside the suit of the spider is basically a tracking device, and the camera follows the spider suit, which is how it is, that it's always able to get these perfect shots. That's why the camera's just not taking shots of an empty road. It's actually following his physical body, and that's why he's always got his chest, where it's coming out with the camera, so we can take pictures of it. But what Norman Osborn says is, what we can do is we can basically tap into the camera. What it is about now, from your mind, soldiers that this that actually story. I don't think he shows up again until the return of King. So it's kind of sad to see him only show up for again in comics. But the idea is that he's essentially keeping tabs on everything that's on, monitoring everything that's taking place. Now, with regards to that Guardian, with regards to Scorpion, basically losing his ability to become
You've pulled
Venom,
down
it's
everything.
not like the Venom symbiote's gone from
Moreau.
his
You can
body.
find
It is
Chester
very
Moreau at the grocery
disrupted.
store.
The issue is that it's
How'd you find
basically
him?
a
I
damage
had
to
a
the
hunch, so I
point that
sat
almost
on an
seems to
apartment
be
in the
on.
French Ward that
And what
Sandy, his
happens
youngest
is,
kid's name.
with
Tucker's been held up there. He's stuck up in Frisco with some cronies in tow. I think he figures if Olivia doesn't get to him, you will.
You all right?
Fuck no. Those two people. I've got an old friend from the State Department who's going to help him. But Moreau, that asshole Remy Duval, they've got to answer for what they've done.
They will. You have no
Jesus.
worries.
When I found out what they were doing,
I'm about to
you
say I
had to
woke you
stop
up,
Moreau.
huh? But you might need to get that pull, shorty.
He's not, he's not like a puppet or anything. It's not an instantaneous thing. Instead, what happens is, he'll be burned alive, for example, and then his body will enter a chrysalis stage, and he'll come out immune to fire. And that's the way his body functions. It's the level basically is a form like he can kill. And that's what Norman Osborn's making on him. What he does is he takes the anti-venom compound, he injects it into the body of Free with the intention of creating this super venom. And the purpose of having the super venom will basically be to kind of lay waste to things. That's the danger of it, is that a few drops will ultimately end up killing people. And so what happens is Norman Osborn basically goes back to his lab for the purpose of using this chemical to engineer it and modify it a bit, and then translate the powers of not perfect, not in the sense of like the Green Goblin. Shows up as another instance of this sort of
Send
split
your
situation
officers
in the mind
now. Be advised, headshot reported in Frisco Field. Suspect is described as a colored male. All units, please respond immediately. Basically, use it like a woman, and that's exactly what they do. That both of these fighters are tracking down. How cool is that? And that person that took out Spider-Man, the entire group is suddenly met with this is cool. Because maybe even if it's some of these guys out there, it's interesting to see these two guys into an actual town, but it's like a weird situation. Spider-Man just doesn't really know how to work his line. He's used to any problem being bad. He's used to any problem working on himself in certain situations. For example, the emergency department. And so because of that, each of them actually working alongside, working side by side as heroes. The idea of them saying, hey, look, you let your hero rely on things, and that's how they found you. It's interesting. It's sort of a weird situation for Peter Parker. So ultimately, what happens is Called off. Repeat, abandoned search. Return to patrol.
soldiers knock out bullseye and then just bail out. Now, of course, we also have Matt Gargan being injected with the serum. The issue is that it's not an instantaneous thing. It'll take time for the venom symbiote to
I'm in Frisco with eyes on targets.
You got it. We'll be around shortly.
The anti-venom antibodies and allow the venom symbiote to begin re-emerging. So while it's in the process of doing that, Scorpion's basically given an updated Scorpion suit. So again, this is Marvel Comics 1. This is Marvel going back and forth saying, hey guys, you're getting the best of both. You're basically getting a side-by-side comparison. Here's a story where you see the Scorpion and you see the Scorpion as Venom in the exact same situation, the exact same conflict. Which one do you like more?
Donnie told me to reach out. I certainly appreciate the help with the phone.
Give me just a second.
Which one we enjoy, which one we don't enjoy. So, picking up with Spider-Man and picking up with Anti-Venom, the idea here is Anti-Venom is exactly the guys are they're all back there. You got the Osborn research group if you want to track them down. And so it's kind of cool to see these two guys work together.
Miss me, yo?
The reason why this works so well is because Spider-Man always worked if they use it. Same with the Spider-Man, the Spider-Sense skill is what you got the experience as part of the something that's only for us to point out that it's not Spider-Man. That's actually anti-venom shape-shifted as Spider-Man. And so it's cool to see these things go against each other. It's cool to see them function. So what happens, of course, Green Goblin makes his presence known, and Spider-Man will put the laws kind of cracking these things out by giving us a fan service to the characters who are fighting against one another. But we also find out that a lot of these people that have been brought in, a lot of these humans that were trapped and cannot work being experimented on. And so the question is, okay, where's this road going to lead? Now, we're actually not going to find that. We're not going to find out here where this road leads. Instead, what we do is we basically pick up with Scorpion,
There, get him!
and then actually injecting him with a barb that basically seems to take away any possibility to eat him. Instead, following this, we have Matt Garnett just re-invoking this venom symbiote after it's finally healed and re-emerging, sort of going forward with the assumption that Anti-Venom was basically defeated, then he can't come back from this. And so during the entirety of this conflict, Norman Osborn had essentially activated a self-destruct in the building with the idea that the entire
That's white, motherfucker!
everybody was going to be killed. Spider-Man was going to die, push through all that building. We know they beat it out, but then it's this idea that there's left with a few of these individuals who they experimented on, so on and so forth. But we're also left with the idea of Anti-Venom, kind of focusing on Eddie Brock himself. In the end, he just sort of says, hey, look, like he is the issue. I gave you the opportunity to know what you do. The question is, what am I going to do with this heroic world? Okay, so picking up with the Amazing Spider-Man, again, we're like the main Amazing Spider-Man now. We had done the origin of Anti-Venom. This is really kind of cool. I mean, again, in the last video, we talked about how after the events of 1.8, that the Spider-Man was going to turn into like a and we also talked about how the virtual were being fleshed out in there in terms of when Dan Slott originally took over as the sole writer with Spider-Man Big Time. But we were talking about how Dan Slott was basically getting about the whole committee running everything, how he's going to clear the landscape and make the Spider-Man title all his own. That's usually what happens. When it comes to a writer taking over a publication, they'll go about it in different ways. Some writers will just kind of build on what's already there. Other writers will wipe the slate clean and start over again. A really good example is like Black Panther, for example. When it came to the mythos of the character as it was created, Christopher Priest had like the landmark run Volume 3 that basically introduced all kinds of new concepts, expanded on the Black Panther mythos. Instead of wiping all that clean, during the events of Avengers and New Avengers, Jonathan Hickman built on that and then added something called the Necropolis, which is where Black Panther communicates with the dead.
Took down Bel Air and Frisco Fields.
Those individuals that held the title
Could not be
before
using this place to fuck itself either.
died in combat.
Find another way to make money from it.
And then right now, with Tommy Hoffa, the story of Black Panther, he's building on top of all of that and adding his own stuff into it. So different writers take things different ways. So with Dan Slott, he looked around at the Spider-Man mythos and he said, okay, so here's what he's going to come up with here. So one more day, Marvel had basically come along. He had Flash Thompson as part of the U.S. Army. He basically fell into a coma due to some injuries. When he woke up, he had basically forgotten a lot of the conflict and a lot of the strife that he had put Peter Parker through when they were in high school. So it was kind of a way to
Remy Duvall
Flash Thompson
came from one of the most respected and wealthiest families in Louisiana. He invested in everything from oil wells to real estate, and he used his social status to get a radio program. Now, he used his radio show to preach about the collapse of black society and the superiority of the Southern way of life. And his family had been here for a couple of centuries, so his death was a shock. But even more shocking was the revelation that he was associated with the Southern Union, a group of wealthy racists who used their social positions to agitate against blacks.
The introduction of Carly Cooper as the girlfriend of Peter Parker, it was just kind of structuring things and shifting things, moving things around in a way that Dan Slott could kind of look at this landscape and say, okay, what are we going to keep and what are we going to get rid of? So that's what a lot of this Spider-Man Big Time for the first volume really going to like smoke began the process of getting rid of a lot of things Dan Slott didn't like. It was also the idea of building up to superior Spider-Man. The idea that Dr. Octopus would take over the body of Peter Parker. Now, what this does is that's kind of a long, exposition in terms of getting into the story. But what this does, and the reason why I wanted to go ahead and make those points, is because we really kind of pick up with Peter Parker in his off time, and this is why a lot of Spider-Man fans loved Peter Parker as Spider-Man. That's why they love the stories, because you would see just as many, just as many story arcs that dealt with him being Spider-Man, fighting bad guys, teaming up with the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and so on, as you would Peter Parker in his off time, what he's doing when he's not Spider-Man. It was this well-rounded, well-fleshed-out Peter Parker within Marvel Comics, which is why he's like this timeless character. Peter Parker will never go away. He's like Batman. He's like Superman. He'll be known from now until humanity collapses in its entirety. But the cool thing about this is this does kind of harken back to the idea of Mary Jane, and that's why I wanted to throw that in there, because of course with Peter Parker cheering on Carly Cooper, telling her, yeah, you're doing a great job as she's doing her role and everything. Mary Jane kind of makes these comments comments about how, Peter Parker really got his life together. He was able to balance his life as Peter Parker and his life as Spider-Man, but he did it without Mary Jane. Now, again, this is Dan Slott kind of reaffirming to the reader that the two of them are not together and they've never been married. Because remember, when Spider-Man Big Time was announced, when Marvel came along and they were like, hey guys, Spider-Man Big Time, it was like all new, all different Marvel for Amazing Spider-Man, in the sense that it was like, hey guys, like, this is the place to start. If you guys really want to get into Spider-Man, start now with Spider-Man Big Time. And even a lot of people who are Spider-Man fans, you go on the Marvel subreddit, I don't really go there anymore, but if you go to like the Spider-Man subreddit, there'll be a lot of people who will say like Spider-Man Big Time is a good place to jump off from if you want to get started. They tell you to read Wikipedia articles or something like that, or watch my videos if you want to get a good idea of what to know if you're going to jump into it. But this is kind of designed to be a great jumping off point for the Amazing Spider-Man. So this is the reason why, because it's Dan Slott kind of showing us where things are, where they stand. Now at this point, we transition over to Andrew's Air Force Base. The reason why is because the son of J. Jonah Jameson is actually getting ready to go on a mission into space. The issue with this is that this segment sees the return of Alistair Smythe. I think it's Smythe, or it might be Smith, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but Alistair Smythe is the son of Spencer Smythe. Spencer Smythe was a longtime villain of Spider-Man, really even J. Jonah Jameson, but the issue was he was defeated in almost every turn. Eventually this led to his death, and the result was that Alistair Smythe basically picked up the mantle of Spider Slayer. But much like his father, Alistair basically uses cybernetic enhancements to his advantage in the form of robots that are made or people who have existing cybernetic enhancements by improving them, and then routing them to his cause. So it's kind of like this reimagining of the Sinister Six to a degree that's not led by Dr. Octopus. Not the exact same, but that's about the closest I can get in terms of offering a comparison. But Alistair Smith, his entire campaign here is really to just bring down everything that J. Jonah Jameson cares about. And the reason why is because he blames J. Jonah Jameson for the death of his father. Now the issue here is that, of course, with Spider-Man being here, we also have Max Modell. Now Max Modell doesn't seem like it would be an important thing, but it's huge. And the reason why is because he's one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. And the way that Dan Slott's going to do this is actually really cool, the way that he pulls this off. But again, this is really them just kind of analyzing the vessel, going over the ships, so on and so forth, looking at everything. And we basically have Dan Slott really telling us how it's all supposed to function. Horizon Labs is behind this project, is some of the best engineers in the world. So it's expected to go off without a hitch. Transitioning back to Peter Parker, this is kind of the cool thing.
Don't let nothing slide no matter how long it takes, Michael Myers.
She just knows that he's Peter Parker. Mary Jane Watson, again, does know that he's Spider-Man. So the funny thing is that when Peter's hanging out with Carly Cooper, he has to put on his show that he doesn't know how to roller skate. He doesn't know how to do any of that stuff. And it's a great bonding chance, man. That's really all it is. It's a great bonding experience for the two of them. The two of them just really having fun, that sort of thing. But of course, once she goes to get changed in order to, for them to hang out, Peter Parker is amazing when it comes to roller skating. Of course, his agility, his balance, so on and so forth, makes him exceptional.